Ladies and gentlemen, we should be live. We'll try. We'll figure this out. I hope I don't mess it up this time around. Not sure if it's going on. Yeah, I think we are. I think we are. We are live. So that should be good. That should be very good. Okay, that's awesome. That's great news. That's great news. Everybody live. Hopefully we don't have any technical difficulties this time around. Let's get this episode started. So, we are five popular investors looking to make you money. We manage over $10 million worth of assets. We have seen bull runs. We have seen bear crashes. We have seen inflation, deflation, dumb money, and portfolios crash and burn. We're going to try to make sure that that doesn't happen to you. So make sure you listen to the whole episode because today we're going to be breaking down where the market is, where the market is going, and what we're doing with our money in order to take advantage of this current market volatility, which is creating amazing opportunities for everybody. The people that were not inside are making money. Even the dumb people are making money. So get ready. No hype, no guessing, just real strategies from the five of us because Akeem is coming later. You know what I mean? He always has to make an entrance. He always has to come in. But hopefully he makes it to the show. It's the four of us for now, but yeah, let's get it started. And the first part of the stream is going to be pretty easy, right? I want to understand what happened last week. What have you seen? What's on your watch list right now? What's happening? I can start with Donald Trump and the beauty of his rhetoric and how he's trying to approach the markets in this scenario and how everybody is behaving with every single word that he says. Nothing matters. It doesn't matter about earnings. It doesn't matter about productivity. The only thing that matters is what Trump says next, which I think is starting to change slowly but surely. I have a take on that, but I'll bring that in the second part of the episode. So make sure you watch it all. But yeah, deals seem to be starting to be talked about. We're hoping they get resolved quickly. The moment we get the first deal done, we're gonna get a roadmap of what Trump really wants, which I want to get Dimitri's view on because I think it has to do a lot with the American defense and the American manufacturing sector. I want to talk about so Trump in the stock market right now, like the way that the market is acting to Trump seems to be believing him less and less because now we're starting to listen to the White House rumors more than Trump itself because we see the rumor come out, right? So for example, there's a rumor right now where he might put the tariffs down for China and the White House comes out and says, no, we're not planning to do that at all. But the reality is that probably in the next week or so, we're gonna get those news like we got it in the past. So it's been super entertaining to watch how this is starting to develop and how the rhetoric is starting to be used as a tool for creating sentiment in the markets. It's actually insane. But yeah, earnings so far have been stellar. I am not against the earnings, and hopefully, if the tariffs go away, we continue that upward trend. Many people are saying that we're gonna get revisions to the downside. Many people are not reporting the effects the tariffs are gonna have, but I think economy's looking solid. The economy is looking solid, so I've turned bullish. You know what I mean? But yeah, I want to get a little bit of also what you guys are seeing because I focus on Trump and I've tried to pay attention. I always have him in my ear. He's become closer than my girlfriend. My girlfriend is kind of upset at me, so because I spend too much time with Trump. He's and it's been crazy. I have to pay attention. At any moment, he could crash the market. So, but he can also pump the market. So, yeah, Timothy, tell me, what are you seeing in the markets today?
Yeah. Um, so personally, what I'm seeing is still a bit of flip-flop from Trump. So one day it's okay, they're gonna reduce the tariffs. Then, as you said, the Washington says no, it's not the truth. Then China says, okay, we're here to talk again. And then the day after, it's like, no, we're not gonna reduce our tariffs. So we're still seeing some kind of uncertainty, which for me personally, I'm still leaning to the bear side in the short term. Not to say that I'm selling or not to say that I'm shorting, but I'm still leaving some cash in my portfolio to buy some stocks being undervalued, and I still think the market is in a downtrend. So as they say, the trend is your friend. I believe we're gonna see at least a test of the lows we had previously. So that's really what I'm waiting for, and that could happen in the June timeframe. Selling may go away. That's when the markets could dip a little further, and also we see in September and October, markets usually have another dip as well in the year. So even if the markets are going to trend higher, I think it's always good to have some cash, because you want to be ready for either a lower low or a higher low, just to buy some more stocks into your portfolio for the long term. So that's how I'm seeing how the market is playing out right now.
Nice. Yeah, it's been super interesting, but like, don't you think that we have seen the opposite of that saying, like sell in May and go away? It almost like, I almost feel that it's like buy in May and stay in the markets, because January was so awful. You know what I mean? January, February, March was so awful in the overall market. So interesting approach. And this is why I love this the podcast, because it's different perspectives all bringing in together, and each person makes their own decisions. We're not financial advisors. We just tell you our opinions, and you do with that whatever you want. It's free and it's efficient, because it's made us money for sure. Dimitri, tell me, what do you see?
So what I'm seeing is the market behaving like a little kid that just got punished by his parents or her parents, and you get in trouble and they take
Oh, Senor makes an entrance.
Hola, buenos días.
He's alive.
¿Qué tal?
¿Cómo estamos?
Todo bien, gracias. Sorry, Dimitri, for interrupting. Go ahead.
What I was saying. So the market is like basically a kid that got punished by its parents, and they take your car away and you protest, and then they take your money, they take your phone, and then suddenly just taking your car sounds like a good deal. Okay? That's exactly what it is, because Trump started his second term with the tariffs that inherited from Biden. Then he spiked them to 65%. The market lost his mind. Then it went to 145, doubling down to 45. And yesterday, the rumor, which basically bets it, that they're going back to 50. So now suddenly 50 sounds like a good deal. Okay? So it's about this. It's about the setup. It's about the setup. And the setup yesterday from 245 to 50 sounds like a good deal. Now, as far as the leaks, I don't think they are leaks. I think they are purposely leaking because it's the administration that's leaking them. It's Bassett, basically his right-hand man. It's not like some dude in the back office, like anonymously, like the Fed does. The Fed does it like anonymously, but the administration purposely is leaking because Trump cannot be seen tweeting all the time. He can do every now and then, but I think it's a strategy, and they're going to go back and forth. I did a post today earlier that the worst thing, a quote from Trump from The Art of the Deal, that says you don't want to be seen looking for a compromise, looking for a deal desperately, because there's more blood in the water and then you get screwed. So I expect him to go back and forth with the Chinese a couple of times, try to walk off the table a couple of times. So, but in the meantime, we're going to get deals with Japan or with the UK or with other major economies that's going to streamline. It's going to streamline the process. But the Chinese thing is going to take a while.
Yeah, for sure.
There are more issues to resolve with the Chinese. With the rest of the countries,
well, they were talking about a trade deal potentially could take like 3 to 4 years. The whole time Trump is president. So, I mean, we're talking about we're potentially going to get some backtracking of the tariffs and the tensions, but yeah, I see it difficult right now. For
50% is closer to the Liberation Day than how he started, and the market celebrated that yesterday. So it's a it's how the setup is, and from 245 to 50 sounds like a good deal, but from 0 to 50, so it depends how you look at it and the circumstances of the development.
Correct.
I mean,
Okay,
it's all
Mimi, I want to hear
psychology,
your
really.
takes. I want to
Yeah, I
hear
mean,
your
that's-
takes, because like we're seeing resilience in the crypto markets a little bit. You know, we're seeing risk on sentiment come back on. I mean, gold was coming up, and yesterday it came down a little bit. So I want to hear your thoughts on the whole crypto space.
Yeah, I mean, with crypto, the question really is, everyone's saying, is it risk on? That is the question. Like, is it risk on, or is the perception and the views of Bitcoin, of crypto shifting, digital assets and all that? And that's something that we need to really take into consideration. And there's such doubt still, because, there's a bit of like anxiety surrounding, when Inauguration Day and then, Liberation Day and all the chaos that's been happening. And now that we've seen time and time again over the last few weeks, a lot of strength, it's like, is this it? Like, is there a huge shift in the views of Bitcoin? And I think that at some point we do need to really accept that and say, look, very, very potentially, Bitcoin is seen as a safe haven. Bitcoin is decoupling from equities. Liberation Day, equities fell, and everyone was screaming decoupling. We had to give it the weekend. Then Monday came along, and Bitcoin, crypto fell, but not to the extent that we expected it to. So again, it just validated the fact that there is a slight decoupling. There is a shift in the view. And so those are my thoughts on Bitcoin at the moment. Another thing worth mentioning is that crypto, and I've addressed this recently when somebody asked, why is Bitcoin holding so strong? And we can address, the usuals, which is stablecoin reserves. We're talking about the dollar falling. We're talking about what else is that? M2, the global money supply as well. But the thing is, like, one thing, if we really delve deep into it, is that one thing that stands out is that Bitcoin and crypto, the asset class is in a space where there is both very stable long-term holders, investors, and also speculative liquidity running through the market. So meme coins are there. People are in this mindset of, fast returns, quick gains, shortcuts. It's always going to be there. And that's the psychological part of it. That's something to really take into consideration.
Yeah, it seems Bitcoin has matured as an asset class, but then you still have this sort of like penny stocks of the crypto markets, which is just the altcoins and the new projects and everything in between, right? So it's exciting. I mean, it's exciting. I mean, the way that Bitcoin has stabilized around this volatility just has impressed me. Me a lot, and it's like my crypto portfolio is up this year. It's nuts, So it's like it's crazy. Akeem, what do you see in markets? We talked about, so we have Timothy, which is a bit bearish. We have Dimitris, which believes we're going to get deals soon. We have Mimi that says Bitcoin is the Bitcoin is stable and the asset class is growing. You have me, I was bearish. I was in Timothy's scam side, but I'm actually turning to the other side the more I'm hearing Trump, because the rumors that you hear from the White House ends up being the truth, not what he's just like announcing to the whole world all the time. So you have to read between the lines. What do you think? What are your thoughts in the last week of markets that have captivated your attention?
So I was bullish and I remain bullish. I was saying that in the short term, I was not super bullish, but I was very bullish for the medium and long term. Now for the short term, I'm also turning somewhat more bullish than I was. So from 8 out of 10, I'm now at 9 out of 10. Reason is that the rumors we keep hearing from the White House and the announcements start going in the right direction. So you have Trump saying, me firing Powell? I never said that, right? So, I mean, he literally posted that the termination of Powell can come soon enough, right? But this week he contradicted himself. He said, I'm not firing Powell. And then you hear rumors from Bessent or from other White House officials that, deals are underway. The tariffs might come down, Chinese tariffs and other tariffs. So I am bullish, but I don't think that in the short term we're going to hit a new all-time high, because the situation we have today is much worse than we had before Inauguration Day, before Trump became president. Because the current administration is lacking really of professionalism. One week they announce, 200% tariff on China, and then another one 50%, and then it might go back to 100% depending on their mood and how they wake up. And maybe he didn't win at golf, and so he's feeling like he wants to raise the tariffs again. So there is a lot of volatility, and this causes actually a lot of people to unload from their US dollar holdings. That's why you had really a major crash in the US dollar. US dollar lost a lot of value since beginning of this year. I think more than 10%, and relative to other currencies also you've seen really, relative to the euro, for example, the dollar is much cheaper, and this is one of the reasons why Bitcoin is actually holding pretty strong, because the dollar has become actually very cheap. It might become even cheaper. So I think Bitcoin, but not only Bitcoin, also gold and other assets that are other assets like that will rise in price as the dollar continues falling. So I think it's important to have an allocation to gold or Bitcoin, or both, ideally both. But for equities, I think it will take time. I had mentioned that we're going to have some kind of like stairs pattern. It's not going to be a proper V recovery, like a sharp one where we go to hit a new all-time high. I think it's going to be now, slowly. The capital markets need to gain trust again in the Trump administration. The bond market already explained to Trump that there are certain boundaries that he needs to respect. Which I mentioned with Powell, but I think the stock market also sent a message, and that's why you start hearing rumors that are rather bullish coming out of the White House. But to rebuild the trust, it will take some time. So I think maybe May and June will be months where that trust will start to be rebuilt, and then we're gonna have. I think we're gonna have very good end of year. But of course, it depends also on the trade deals that they're gonna manage to get now.
Okay, so Timothy, because the thing is like I agree with Kim and Timothy. I think volatility is here to stay, and it's going to create amazing opportunities to buy amazing companies whenever we see this. But Trump can wake up tomorrow and say something crazy, and then the price of major assets are going to come down. If you have your buy orders, you're going to be able to buy amazing. So Timothy, can you repeat? Can you tell me when are you expecting the bottom?
You're on mute.
I cannot hear
Timothy.
you. You're muted. There you go. You're muted. Speak. Oh,
First of all,
you're getting muted.
Yeah, I got you.
I'm here.
Okay, tell me.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
So first of all, I'm not able to predict the market. So when I say I'm bearish and based on seasonality, I think we could see a dip in May and June. That's just based on statistics. So don't take my word for it. I'm just leaving some cash in case the markets drops to that point in June. So that's really my time frame within these next 2 months, actually.
So similar to Akeem in the June range. All right. The thing is again, these are just ideas, and we're not your financial advisor. We manage our own portfolios, we manage our own money, we eat what we kill. So this is our opinions. Take what you want and throw away what you want. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe if you like the content and you want to see more of it too, because we do this for free. But yeah, I want to know. So okay, I want to get an idea then. What is the speculation that you guys are taking into consideration in your portfolios? What is the hopes and fears that you see? Because for me, I want to see the deals done, and I have a feeling that we are likely to see America lean towards the defensive side of manufacturing, which is starting to get their own rare earth materials, start to get their own production lines coming in such a way that we are able to see America being able to defend itself against any foreign power, because we have seen manufacturing leave America, and this is what I think scares Trump. You know, so I'm hoping, I want to hear your 2 cents on this and get an idea of what you guys see, you know, because it's like some of the things that Trump is saying, everybody's focused on tariffs right now, but the reality is that Trump also has promised other things. He's just focusing really heavily on this, and I didn't think he was going to follow, like this was the main thing that he needed to get across. But the reality is he's promising income tax over under 150K to be abolished. He's looking to deregulate the banks, and he's looking to protect key industries, like I mentioned before. So what do you guys see in this, right? Like, where are we heading? Where is this market going?
That's a very general question. Like, are you asking about the stock market, where it's heading, considering the developments?
Sure, like whatever you think, like where are you focusing next? You know, it's like, what is the thing that you want to see happen in order for you to get your but the thing is, Dimitri, you're fully bullish. You're like 11 bullish out of 10.
Yeah, but the thing is, Biden was doing basically the same kind of deals, like putting tariffs on the Chinese, but it wasn't so public. Okay, it was like going under the radar. And it's Trump when he's putting everything on Twitter and he's too social, and everything becomes so public, and everything is debated by investors like us, and it makes the market to become more volatile than it should be. I mean, long term, in the next 4 years, they would like to get some of the key industries back, because they know that sooner or later they're going to have a standoff with China, with Taiwan. You don't want to be depending on them for some key parts of the economy. You want to have them on your own. So that's where it's headed. And the whole thing started in February of 2022, when the Shanghai port closed for 3 weeks. Nothing was going out. And everybody looked at it and said, you know what? Let's bring some things home. Now, in the meantime, some companies are going to get hit. For example, Apple. Good thing I don't own Apple. It's exactly in the middle of all this. And so we're going to have, I think we're going to have good years with Trump, but they're not going to be the easy years like Biden. Like, just close your eyes, pick 20 stocks, you make 20%. Nah, I don't see that happening. It's going to be more, you have to be more selective and be able to stomach the volatility.
Yeah, I completely agree. Actually, you have to be extremely selective. Last year, you could buy literally any sector, you can be exposed to any sector, and you get your 20%. And I think as an investor, and as investors, what we need to keep in mind is the end game that the current administration actually has planned. I don't think they want to bring back all the clothing factories, all the shoe factories. You know, there's been a lot of quite funny AI-powered memes showing Americans, making shoes. I don't think this is what Trump has in mind. I think Trump, from the beginning, what he has in mind is to bring a few industries, a few very critical ones, chips. So that's number one. And number two, it's rare earth minerals. So this is like the most important. And it's not a coincidence that with Ukraine, he wanted to do that deal for titanium and lithium and other minerals. So I think it could be quite interesting if you want to pick equities, the ones that will have tailwinds in the coming years are the ones that are going to produce chips and also mine those important minerals in the US, or at least in countries that are allied to the US. Yeah. Where you have good trade deals. So you're going to have a lot of chip makers that will suffer because they currently produce in China. And also Taiwan. In Trump's head, Taiwan is not exactly an ally. I mean, in Trump's head, Taiwan is something like China. Like, he doesn't like that the chip industry is there in Taiwan. He doesn't feel comfortable with it.
China can come in. Yeah.
I think that's the problem. Is he knows that China wants to take Taiwan, and if China happens to take Taiwan, then the whole chip industry of the US is compromised. And you need chips to power missiles, to power a lot of very critical American products. And so I think where you going to have tailwinds is actually stocks like Nvidia, but also TSMC. The Taiwanese chip maker has promised to invest in the US and to produce chips in the US. So you will have certain companies that I think are going to have actually huge tailwinds, the ones that have currently or will have a presence in the US in those two key industries. So that's where I see the opportunity, to answer the question
Okay.
about where's the opportunity.
Well, that actually allows me to pivot towards, like, I think Timothy's point he wanted to discuss too. It's like the AI revolution and how it's come out of favor. But what are your thoughts on that? Because now we talked the foundation of the AI revolution, which is the chips, key industries, all of that stuff. But where do you see AI coming in, Timothy?
So how I see the markets right now, you always have a few sectors being in favor, and you also have a few sectors being out of favor, and they rotate all the time. So one year you'll have health sector being the favor, and then the next year it will be AI. So last year we had AI, and eventually it's gonna run out of steam, and it's gonna be replaced by another sector. Right now we have other players that are more loved, okay, and AI will go in the background a bit, and in the meantime the tech is incredible. It's improving day by day. It's getting better with the agents. It's getting better with the robotics. So it's in the background, really, in terms of value, increasing. And that's what I am doing right now. Just while everyone is buying these stocks that's being favored, I'm buying the stocks being out of favor, which is Nvidia, which is Broadcom, all those stocks that are more into chips and AI. And eventually you'll see the sector AI come in favor again, and I swear to you, it's gonna be the biggest boom we'll see, because right now we're at the tipping point of the AI revolution, and we haven't seen the peak of it. Now is just a small blimp of what we're gonna see, and you have to prepare for this revolution. And that's all I'm saying. Can be more bullish than now.
Okay. All right. The thing is, like the AI trade, I don't think it's done. You know, like I heard this comment, and this is super interesting. You know, we got used to having like knowledge. Okay. And it was like knowledge was before, it was very hard to acquire knowledge, to become really good at one thing. And then we got this tool that allowed us to communicate better, you know? And then this tool that became like, we had an encyclopedia in our pockets, you know, like the smartphone allowed for knowledge and communication to be fast spread. Now we have AI, which AI is having the smartest person in any field in your pocket right now. Where can we go next? You know, it's like, if we like, imagine what Steve Jobs could have done with AI. Imagine what like the greats, if they had access to this technology. You know, it's like we're living in, like, in my opinion, the best time ever in the history of the world, where we have access to items in seconds. We have
Can I add something?
Yeah,
can I add something?
Well, quick, because I gotta give it to Mimi.
Yeah,
I gotta
yeah,
pass the baton to Mimi. So
no, for sure. I mean, it was just one sentence actually. It's just AI stocks. Actually, I prefer to buy them now when everyone is kind of forgetting about them. Everyone was buying like crazy when, you know, AI was trendy. The hype has faded, but the real world AI applications are really crazy, and AI keeps getting adopted, and the AI companies, they keep growing like crazy. So I think you have really an amazing opportunity. I mentioned previously, when you have a fast grower that is trading at, I don't know, 25 PE, and then you have a utilities company at 25 PE, you have the market inefficiency, and you gotta go with that fast grower AI play for 25 PE because the growth rate is way above 25%, and you really have like a huge opportunity in AI now for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because the earnings are starting to show where the earnings growth in the companies, the utilities is not coming through when people are finding like there are opportunities right now in expensive companies that we call expensive, but if the growth continues,
you know, I mentioned, and Timothy also mentioned some volatility in May and June. It's also related to the earnings that are going to be released now. You're going to have a lot of very complicated outlooks because it's very difficult to have a proper outlook. And so you're going to have some complications there, and you're going to have also some macroeconomic data that are coming out, and we will see if tariffs had any impact or not. That's why May and June are going to be very, very tricky and full of opportunities, actually.
Mimi,
Yeah.
the big question that everybody wants to know about Ethereum. Talk to me.
Before I get into Ethereum, I just wanted to add with the AI play. I mean, like as we're speaking, Fetch AI is up like 12-13% right now, while others are just flatlining. It's definitely a very high conviction play for me in terms of that narrative, in terms of AI. If I wasn't into AI, Timothy definitely sold me there because that was a very good speech there. But yeah. With it's still the beginning, and like with AI, so many people are still rejecting it. It's like rejecting Google back in the day. You might as well go to the library and do your research, or send snail mail and not email anyone. So it's still got a long way to go. Ethereum, yes, I did want to speak about Ethereum because in terms of like my high conviction plays, I've been mentioning Ethereum quite a lot, and I think one of the things, it's like, for sure, it's definitely very underrated right now. It's in terms of its capability, and everyone's really frustrated with the price. I know that, but one thing we have to take into consideration is that, firstly, Ethereum is a first mover, so of course it's going to have challenges. It didn't have any comparisons back in the day. Solana, Sui can all come in and sweep and go, hey, we're going to be faster, we're going to be more scalable and everything. But Ethereum is still that institution grade ecosystem. It's still high grade. It's where all the big players go and build. And if that's where they go, that's where the money goes as well. Surely, of course, Ethereum has its problems and it's not going unnoticed. I know, I'm very certain. I mean, I'm not a part of the team there, but I know for certain that they're all scrambling to figure out how to improve it. And so it's the one where the big players are looking at. That's where they're going to go. And one other thing is that you've got to apply, Metcalfe's law, which is essentially the value of a platform is it grows exponentially as users come on board. But as users come on board, it doesn't just double the number of connections, it quadruples. So that's Metcalfe's law. And that's what happens with valuing, Ethereum. And I really think that Ethereum will really surprise so many people this cycle. And, so many people have jumped ship, I'm pretty sure, sold Ethereum, jumped to other projects. No judgment. You'll be back, Timothy.
What,
See you soon.
Mimi, do you see a specific catalyst then for Ethereum? Like one specific catalyst, or what can really start moving the price now?
One really thing that does stand out is upgrades. There's a lot of work, I'm very certain, going in behind closed doors, and then suddenly they're going to come out and go, look, we're upgrading. It's going to be faster than Solana. It's going to be more scalable than Sui. It's going to happen overnight. But then again, effort compounds. So everything's happening in the back end, and then it will feel like it's overnight. And that's how I feel.
It's very similar to the AI revolution, right? Like AI has been a thing for years, but it became a thing in markets when we have a ChatGPT moment that all of a sudden it's like, oh, wow, this is a contender. Like this is going to change the world. And you need to get that moment, right? With Ethereum, we saw a little bit of it, but we still have to see more. But I think it's coming, I think it's coming, because I agree with Mimi that we are seeing developers come in.
Do we really think that Ethereum are just sitting there going, oh, we're falling behind? Oh, there's Sui, there's Solana, there's all these, oh, what are we going to do anything? They're not sitting there doing nothing. Everyone's working very hard. I'm very certain.
So that's the thing. By the time you hear it in the news, you're already late, right? So it's like
Yeah.
start setting positions. It's you know you want to plant your seeds when the climate is warm and nice. You know, it's like everybody's focused on other stuff. Bam, you take advantage of that, right? And then you plant those seeds, and then when they come to harvest, you harvest them and make sure you take profits too, which is something that this market has definitely taught me as well, right?
Yes,
Okay.
I have a question for about Bitcoin. I want to like to hear the thoughts of Mimi and Timothy and Akim, since they are,
Cool.
we are all crypto investors. So in the last few days, I don't know if you guys missed the news, but China sold 15,000 Bitcoin and bought gold, which had me question, like, are they missing the point, or are we missing the point? Because buying gold, I mean, selling Bitcoin to buy gold, obviously the price of gold is at all-time high. So is it more than just unloading Bitcoin and buying gold, or is it like another layer that we are not aware of? Just a question.
Mm.
Well, one thing to consider is that China has missed the point before, probably more than once, because I remember this in, I don't know if it was like 2018, 2019, but China banned Bitcoin. China was like, we're banning Bitcoin. And then I think markets crashed and everyone's freaking out. And I remember at that time I said to somebody, they're going to realize that if they don't jump on board, they're going to be left behind. Next minute, they jump on board. So
Yeah.
I think this is
There was
another...
a news article recently where Russia and China are exchanging, like they're having oil contracts be paid in Bitcoin. So you know, it's like insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
Am I muted now, or
No, yeah, you can speak.
because
You can speak.
because
I got you
because
covered. I got you covered.
you're controlling my mic. So,
I am.
So
He's not letting me, but I am.
I have like I have zero sovereignty on the mic. Just one sentence on that. China is always very suspicious on everything that can harm their sovereignty, and Bitcoin, it can really undermine the national currency, and they can lose control on the currencies that are in China. And this is also why they broke up all those huge big tech companies, the very good ones, very successful ones that can compete on a global scale. It's just they want to keep control. And I think they see Bitcoin more as a threat because it's a currency, and they could start losing control over it. And I think that's the real reason why they're starting to unload Bitcoin. I don't know if they will go all the way to banning again Bitcoin. They had banned it in the past, like Mimi said. But I think they trust more gold because they know that people will not use physical gold as currency. And there's that risk with Bitcoin. You can mute me again, Nestor.
All right. Cool. So I want to touch on just like right now, and like let's keep it quick. By the way, one sentence, Akim, one sentence. Yeah, one sentence. I go to, you know, my one sentence has part A, part B, part C, part W. Okay. So I wanna know right now, what's your highest conviction? What is on your desk that you're either spending the most time, and what the audience should be paying attention to as well, and again, doing their own research.
A specific asset, or
just an asset, a sector, something that, you know, the more, if you want to be specific, give more value, but just like something to put, because I want to start growing the watch lists. If we're waiting, if volatility is your friend, if you're looking to get entry prices, it's the truth. So what is it? Because like right now I'm looking, look, I like TQQQ right now. For bounces, TQQQ is quite nice. You know, yeah, it's a lot of risk, but if you want to have some exposure with the extreme volatility of the NASDAQ, whenever you hear some good news, it could potentially bounce drastically. And I hold it in my portfolios as well. NVIDIA, and then I have Mara, and I have First Solar, which are three companies that I think are going to...
Nestor, one conviction in one sentence.
Yeah, because I have part A, part B, part C. You have to know.
No, one.
Okay, go on. So the TQs. I go for the TQs right now, right? If I have to choose one. But okay, let's go. Mimi, what are you looking at? What is the asset that you want to pay attention to?
Okay, so aside from Ethereum and Ripple, the obvious, I do want to mention Curve. And I'll give a shout out to Toby, who is another popular investor on eToro, who brought that to my attention, and also to the Quora community as well. So Curve actually is basically the platform for stablecoins. And as we know, given Jerome Powell mentioned stablecoins, and so there's going to be a huge need for a platform that would support that. And with everyone thinks, I'm sure some people think stablecoins, well, they're Bitcoin or crypto killer, but really if stablecoins are used, there's liquidity there. So Curve is in terms of like crypto asset, that's one that I'm looking at, and then it's just the same narratives really, which is AI and tokenization, real world usage.
Okay, so Curve. Okay, Akeem, one line.
Yeah, so I would have said Bitcoin, but I want to add value, so I'm not going to say Bitcoin, even though it's my number one conviction. I'm going to tell my number two. My number two is Kronos. It's also a cryptocurrency, actually, CRO, from Crypto.com. We're seeing really interesting partnerships between Crypto.com and Donald Trump Media. The media group between Trump and the CEO of Crypto.com that will involve the currency, Kronos, in interesting projects of launching new ETFs with a made in USA angle. So I think that's going to really drive adoption of this specific cryptocurrency. So it's really something, if it's not in your portfolio, at least have it in the watch list, do your research on it. I think it's really exciting.
Okay. Dimitris.
I have my eyes on earnings this week, because the earnings that really matter are happening this week, in the next week or so. I have my eyes on Amazon, Microsoft, Google, because on them, the market depends on them basically to deliver the earnings and confirm that they're gonna do the capex that they promised. Because if they do, then they take part of the market with them. But also to add that the bar is really low. The valuations have come down. Nobody's expecting too much. I mean, we saw Tesla the other day. The bar was so low, and the earnings, they were disappointing, but not as bad as I expected them. And they started well. So I'm assuming the same thing is going to happen. Assuming the same thing is going to happen with the rest of the Mac 7. So all eyes on earnings this week. And as far as crypto, I mean, crypto doesn't really...
One. You get one. Max 7. You got your one. You got your one. Your one census is over. Timothy.
All right. So Dimitris, he said tech. I wanted to say tech because Google has earnings tonight, and I was actually waiting for Google to release earnings. Maybe if I can say one altcoin, it would be Sui right now, because it's really showing some strength today and breaking above that $2.5 level. And that's the level I was watching to become a bit midterm bullish again on Sui. So
again, this is for your watch list. Do your own research. Don't invest blindly because some random people on the internet told you. It's your money. It's your job to do the work. We do the work for our portfolios. So make sure you check them out in the link below in the description, because you can see the trades that we make and we don't make. And if you feel like it, copy us. But you don't have to, because we don't really care. We manage our money. And
we have questions in the chat, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I'm about to go into that section, because we had one from the eToro. We had a little bit of excitement for the stream today. I was kind of excited today. Everybody was so excited to watch us. Yeah. So, but we have a couple of questions that we have to bring in, and then I'm gonna try to pop out in the chat here.
What's so bad about the word expert? Like, I actually didn't get it. Like, why everyone got so emotional about it?
Well, I mean... that gave me the realization of Trump's tactics. Trump says he's the best, and everybody gets so upset, but he gets engagement in his posts. It is beautiful. So now the best 5 investors have said it here tonight, even though it's daylight. All right, so we have a couple of questions here, and if you have them, put them in the chat. We're more than happy to answer you. Give you our opinions. Again, their opinions, no financial advice. Do with your money what you want. Let's have a look.
Yeah, there's
I hear
something
you.
about
So
that.
one of the questions, I'm guessing it has to be. Can you guys read that?
Yes.
Didn't they just have a meeting discuss upgrades?
So this was
That's
about the
about
Ethereum
Ethereum.
upgrade.
Ethereum.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's in May. So there's the Petra upgrade in May.
Okay, yeah, which is that's it.
Mhm.
Somebody answered in the chat. So it's like the beautiful thing, and what we're hoping to create right now. So don't forget to hit the like and subscribe if you like the content that you're watching. Is we're hoping to get a discussion going and start talking about the right things, like how we're looking at portfolios, how we're managing our money, and how everybody else is. Because like sometimes the community might even give us ideas that we haven't seen. And we start looking, and then who knows? Maybe we become billionaires because of it. So we're just hoping to share our knowledge. That's all we're trying to do. Our research, our knowledge, our expertise, because we're the greatest investors in the world. We're done. All
There
right,
was
so let's have a look.
question.
There's another question here.
I think there was one.
What
on the
L2s
e-tron.
you in?
Say again.
I
What?
have no idea. That's crypto talk for me, in my opinion.
That's
I
the
believe-
thing.
What L2s?
Yeah.
I mean, for me, anything. Basically,
This
the
is me.
main ones. The main. Come on, you guys have to answer. I mean, Timothy can probably answer this too, but like, I mean, the main ones that are on the Ethereum L2s. I can't really name. There's so
L2
many.
means layer 2 on Ethereum, and
Yeah.
I'm using Base, but it doesn't has a coin, and I'm also using Arbitrum, but
Yeah.
not so bullish price wise. So maybe I'm gonna just stick to Ethereum if it remains at this price choppiness. But once Ethereum catches up, I believe L2s like what is it, Arbitrum, Optimus, Metis, they can all pump because Ethereum goes up. It's like whenever Bitcoin goes up, altcoins goes up, and the same goes for Ethereum. When Ethereum goes up, the L2s will go up. So in that case, yeah, you have so many choices, too many actually.
Nice.
I mean, just to be super safe, I generally just stick with layer ones. But
Okay.
that's
I
just
just,
me.
I think I bought one. I don't even know. I don't even know what layer 2. Like I like Bitcoin. Bitcoin's great. Bitcoin's great. All right. So I think here just a little bit of an announcement. Be careful with dirty DJing coins. Haha. Just be careful. It's risky. Not risky. If you know, you know.
Risky.
Risky.
Yeah. It's all about risky. Risky is the new Farcoin times 2. And with
But
Trump,
we're
even
talking
more.
about the Filecoin. Some guy from $750 made like $750,000 in the last 3 months. You guys saw that? It was the best asset to outperform during this market sell-off. Filecoin. Like seriously. Anyway.
All right, here we have an interesting question, and this is for the tech people right here. I know Akeem's gonna want to have say something before I mute him again.
Am I allowed now? Yeah.
Yeah. Go.
So I would prefer Microsoft. Even if Alphabet, so the parent company of Google, there's a lot of potential, there's high growth, and the valuation, I mean, it's much cheaper. It's currently cheaper than Microsoft. I think it's trading at 20 times earnings, Microsoft at 30 times earnings. Still, I don't really like the regulatory scrutiny that I'm seeing. If if Alphabet has to sell Google Chrome, I think it's going to lose really an important part of itself, because it relies on all the data that it collects in the search engine to power all the other businesses, to power Gemini and to power the other businesses. That's why I prefer Microsoft. Microsoft is the base of corporate America and of everything. I mean,
We are all laying on top of an Excel sheet that hasn't been updated for 25 years, and if somebody deletes it, the world collapses. China wins. Timothy,
Yeah, I just want to say Google is quite cyclical because their revenue is mainly ad revenue. And whenever, there is a slowdown in the economy, you'll see people, businesses spend less on ads actually. So I believe Microsoft is more the stronger player here in terms of stable growth, while Google will probably be more volatile. And with their AI accomplishments, they're going fast. They're really the top players within the AI space. But like I said, because of the ad revenue, they can swing more than Microsoft itself.
Okay. Well, sorry. Go.
Alphabet, the revenue of Alphabet depends more on advertising, while Microsoft is more diversified. So that's something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
That's why it's a bit more volatile.
Dimitris.
I would say Microsoft only because it's much easier to hold long term. I mean, buying and holding long term, it sounds simple, but you have to actually hold them. And Microsoft is much easier to hold since it's less volatile. They deliver earnings. It's the only company, along with J&J, that have AAA bond rating, which is basically great. They're safer than treasuries, and their revenue stream is much more consistent than Google. But Google, in the short term, it might have better performance. So
Man,
you have
I
to-
like the AI tools Google is coming out with. I'm not gonna lie. I like them a lot, but they are not advertising them well.
I
Which
mean,
is funny.
the DOJ just hit them like for the second time in 6 months with a probe. So, I mean, they're really trying to hurt them. So you have to take that into consideration, and you have to remember in the 90s, Microsoft got some of that, and they lost a decade. Basically, the 90s that was supposed to run away from Apple. Okay, they were dealing with the DOJ, and they lost a decade, and still they became the company that they became.
today.
So, but if I have to choose, I'm going to say Microsoft, and I am choosing because it's my top position in my portfolio. So,
Nice. Okay, Mimi. Oh, sorry. My powers got to my head. I'm muting everybody. Everybody get muted. You get muted. You get muted. Go again.
It's a hard one, but I would say based on my portfolio, Microsoft.
Nice. You know what
That's
I would
it.
say? I like both.
Yeah.
I like both.
it's hard.
I mean,
to
I'm buying
choose.
TQQQ. I'm buying both of them. I'm buying Tesla. I'm buying all the Amazons. I'm buying all the friggin', so I
All
like
the
both.
tech.
I like both. I think they provide different safeties for sure. But Google, I think Google is getting more punished right now because they're in the middle of sort of a lot of fights and a lot of risk with like Google search being lost potentially. But I think they're implementing AI really well. So we'll see.
I have
other
a question. Yes, I have a question to you, Nestor. Can I mute your mic actually?
No, you
from
can't. I have all the power.
He
I have
does.
the
He
power.
does.
So you see how it would feel,
Yeah. For a while, I was, because it's funny, because this is the deep end. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching this far. If you made it this far, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Again, it doesn't hurt. It tells me we're doing a good job, and it tells me that I can mute Akeem, so that's okay. It's like it tells me. It's all
Like if you
the
want to
more
mute
likes, the
Akeem.
more times I mute Akeem. I didn't mute him. All right.
Another question.
Yeah, we have another question here. Few weeks.
That's a really good question.
It's so tricky. Short
That's
term.
a really good question. Because I've been thinking about that all day. I've been thinking about it all day. That was my whole day. So it's really good to see Bitcoin holding above 92,000. It was what I saw before this stream. Now, the question really is, there's two scenarios, obviously. One is that it has a pullback towards the 88K, 87 to 89K levels, right? And that would be healthy. That'd be very healthy. There was a lot of liquidity there too, but I don't know about now. But if it does that, that's great. There's obviously the scenario that it would push towards 100K. if it does that, I want to see it push, like power through 100K. When we're talking about like, you know, right now I'm still same as Timothy, a little bit cautious as well, not 100% like for me to be okay 100% this bull cycle is going to power towards greener pastures. I want to see Bitcoin push through, power through 100K, not wick through it, not tap it. I want it to power through it and then hold above there. And so those are the two scenarios. At the moment, the 88K is more possible for it to just retrace and then you know rally. That's where I see at the moment. I mean, anything could happen, and that could happen tomorrow. It could happen next week, or you know, in a couple of weeks, or a couple months. I don't know, but that's what I see right now.
Nice.
If that answers the question.
I think it does. Anybody want to say? I say it's hard. Like I say, short term, it's hard because it's like like Trump can wake up on the wrong side of the bed. He can have a fight with Melania, and then you know what I mean. And then all of a sudden, it's like we have no idea. Just don't know. You know, it's like has it been 100 days of the Trump presidency still? Like I don't think it has. I think it's soon. You know, it's like
April 29th. 100 days.
It's been 95 days. I've heard Trump more than I've heard Biden.
I have 100 gray hairs. That's what I have.
Yeah. But it's part of the game, and it's part of the markets, and you know, like the market wanted Trump because of the volatility, and we got volatility. And Akeem wants to talk before I mute him.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question? Do you guys miss Biden?
Man, yes, I do. Like, oh, I wake up and it's like, haha, look at the old man. He got lost on the way from the plane to the, haha, so good, you know. Haha. Oh, he's eating chocolate ice cream, great, you know. He knows what dollars are. I
mean, as an investor, like market-wise.
Well, he had 2022 too. You know, he had his volatility, but.
I mean, it wasn't him that created the volatility. Okay, to be fair, Trump is creating the volatility with his tweets and with his nonsense. So Biden, it's unfair to say Biden created 2022, even though the bear market was in his term. But to answer Akim's question, I mean, I don't know, because Trump keeps us occupied. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you wake up in the day and you have like 10 Bloomberg notifications you have to go through, and then you go to the gym. By the time you get out, the market is down. You don't know why, and you have to go and see what he said.
Truth Social. Have you downloaded Truth Social?
Yes.
Okay. Like then, like you know, my top conviction trade right now is DJT. How many more accounts he's gonna have? How many more? Just for Trump. For the next 4 years, it's gonna be bank. Oh man, but yeah, it's insane. It's just like there is so much to pay attention to. You know, it's like I wish sometimes, you know, it's like go play golf. When he went to play golf, market did good for a little bit. Everybody's calm for a little while. But yeah. Hopefully, but I think I don't know. I think anything else you guys would like to add?
There was one question. It was a really good question as well. When you are thinking about your big bets, what prices are you using for your valuations expectations?
Yes.
So you know.
Yes, that was important. Yeah, that was from eToro. Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Akeem, you want to go? Dimitri, Timothy.
I didn't exactly understand the question. Like, what prices are we using?
What?
Or what tools?
So, like, how do you determine the value of an asset? How do you determine how much is it worth?
Okay. I have a simple trick for stocks. A very simple one. It doesn't mean that it's the right one. I use a combination of a lot of different tools. You kicked out Timothy. You have too much power, Nestor.
I have the power! At least I didn't kick us all out. You know what I mean? I didn't kick us all out.
Yeah. So just maybe one metric that is really interesting to watch. As I said, you can use 10, 20 different metrics, but there's one really interesting metric is if the PE, the price to earnings, is equal or lower the growth rate, the earnings growth rate, then it's an interesting stock. So it already deserves to be on your watch list. So to put simple, if a company grows 20%, but is currently trading at, I don't know, 18 times earnings, then it deserves to be in your watch list. That's like a simple trick that allows you to find cheap companies, cheap relative to their growth. There's also the PEG ratio, the price to earnings growth
PEG.
ratio that you can use, the PEG.
Like there's so many ways. Yeah, there's so many ways, because the thing is like it goes back to this finance question, right? It's like if I can guarantee you a contract that's going to pay you $1 from now until eternity, how much are you willing to pay for that dollar? And the question changes based on risk profiles and analysis and what your risk premium is and all of these different things, you know? But it's understanding, like, when you're buying an asset, you're buying a set of cash flows, you're buying a company, you're buying like a foundation, and then you're buying something that's creating revenue. So you have to understand how those two interact with each other in order to make a decision. And then you start putting in your what's it called, your assumptions inside the model, and then you come up with a price. You know, I usually tend to have like a fair value price and then a target price based on growth, and then sometimes it likes to go nuts because market likes to stay rational sometimes. Like sometimes we sell everything even though only a small part of the whole the market's going to get affected, but the whole market sells off, right? So Dimitris.
The way I do it is depending on the sector. So some sectors are more easier to value than others. For example, financials, 10, 11, 12 times, and then you check in the price to book, and not more than 1.5 times, which is JP Morgan basically, which is the more expensive from the banks. Only lately has been a bit cheaper than, I think, from Bank of America, Morgan Stanley. So that's for banks. For energy, I would like to get them in the single-digit price to earnings because they're so heavily dependent on energy. And the last time I got into ExxonMobil, it was like single-digit price to earnings and a high single-digit in dividend, which is worthwhile to take the risk. Technology is really difficult to value, okay? And I know people have their theories, and I have my theories, and each investor does whatever it seems like correct to his judgment. But with technology, I can only say is very expensive or is very cheap. I can't seem to find, okay, this is precisely the right moment to buy. So there you have to look the 52-week low and high, and you would like to get them on the low, now on the high. Even when you do rebalancing and you have to rebalance them, you don't want to buy the highs with them because they are so traded from the market, and that's going to get you in trouble. Like for example, Microsoft 25, 30 times is good, but Tesla 70 times, and Amazon. So they are all over the place. Yeah. Like technology is one sector, but each company has a different way to do it. So yeah, I can't give a concrete answer how to value technology, but it goes more with technicals as well, not just fundamentals.
No, it's the truth. It's the truth.
No,
like
the thing is,
Timothy.
you always have to account for the growth. And what I like to do is look at the PE ratio, accounting for growth, but also not comparing with other companies. Compare it with the same company in its history. Look, okay, where did it was 10 years ago, and you'll see that it will have an average. For example, let's say Google right now, its PE is based on its average, more undervalued compared to where it was in 2020, okay, when there was this big boom. And you can check this for every company. Just look at the PE ratio for the same company in its history, like where it stands right now compared to the past, and then you'll see the average of its PE ratio. That's more my method in case I wanna check how priced it is, and also the discounted cash flow method.
And one sector that doesn't need to evaluate at all is utilities. Utilities are just valued at whatever they are priced. That's their value, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The market has a right. Like that is a sector that the market knows. The market knows. It's because only boring people invest in it. You know, it's like
Yes.
bankers. You want to know the truth of the world? Ask a banker. He'll tell you the truth. He'll be like, the numbers say this. Based on the numbers is this. Mimi, how do you value your sorcery? You know, how do you?
How can you? The question is, how do you even value crypto? And the thing is, like, there isn't not one way. And I always talk about like having just an overview picture. So you have to take everything into consideration. You have to take into narratives, right? That's like one key way to value. To be a little bit more like objective in a way is like when I spoke about Metcalfe's law. So like how many users are on the platform, how many developers are in the ecosystem. Then you go down to like, usage case, and then like how is that platform used? Again, it's whether it's like required or not. And then also, what was the other thing? The strength of the token, the strength of the project, and how it's been proven time and time again through crisis, through bear markets, which ones have really withstood the test of time. So you have to take all of that into consideration as well as liquidity. But in crypto, it's very difficult to be like, okay, there's a mathematical equation.
There's not like a price. It's not like this is what it's worth. No, it's like because the community matters, and there is the non-tangibles more in crypto than the tangibles. And in finance, it's like you have the tangibles, which is like balance sheets, all of this, the information, 10Ks, all of the information that they give you, and you're able to decide. But then with crypto, it's like you're almost in the wild west of the market, which is like we're working on something and we are developers, and I did tech in uni and I didn't graduate, but now I'm worth 10 million. And it's like, okay, great. So it's the truth. No, it's very true.
I'm looking the chat that Jody is saying with Biden there was much decent to buy, and that's a good point because every investor wants to buy the dip, and then Trump comes and gives you lots of dips, right?
You wanted deals? You got deals.
Yes,
Welcome to Trump land. You can buy Amazon for cheap. You can buy Costco for 30 PE. It's the same companies. Utilities is the way to go. Welcome to another episode of Trumpland.
And Trump is giving you the dips to buy, and then everybody thinks it's risky. I mean, that's markets, right? And that's psychology that you have to have in order to be successful investor.
Yeah, and it's funny this comment right here. Trump wants good TV. He's a TV guy. He wants good TV, and we're getting good TV. We're getting good TV. I'm watching more I'm watching more my financial feed than any show that I was watching before. Black Mirror is.
We'll probably miss him when he's gone. Honestly, like I bet somebody's gonna say
if he's gone, Because the question is, will he run a third term in the next episode of Market Buzz, ladies and gentlemen?
He's gonna be done. He's not gonna run again.
You think?
Yeah.
Yo, guys, check this out.
You know
I think
what?
it's not gonna be a peaceful end, this for sure.
I didn't buy for a minute that he was going to fire Jay Powell. I didn't buy that for a minute. That was just speculation from the market and the media. Are we done?
Well, we're in the deep end for sure. Welcome to another episode of
Market Buzz.
Market Buzz.
There you go.
Is that new powers? I'm becoming almighty now. I didn't disconnect us.
Timothy dropped out, but
Yeah.
Timothy wanted to make an entrance.
Like a
like a Kim.
Exactly. Oh man. All right. Well, everybody, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you all. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. If you have any comments, if you want anybody to talk to us, we are
Follow
working
us.
on some things behind the lines. We're going to be doing this every Thursday, hopefully, to try to share as much knowledge as we can and how the markets are behaving. And hopefully we save you some money, and hopefully we make you some money. And hopefully we do something good. And if we don't, unlucky.
That's what experts are for.
Oh, man. But yes, it's the truth. Well, thank you very much, everybody. It was a pleasure. Thanks so much for watching. Peace. right, I have to hit it twice because like now I know how to stop this, which is gonna be great.